Good evening, my friends. Today, sorry that I didn't get back to you last night. I went and watched a movie at a friend's house, and I didn't end up getting home till like midnight. It was the longest movie ever. It was called Lawrence of Arabia, which actually was a good movie for me to watch. It was old from 1960, but it gave me a lot of insight into just dealing with bringing different people together. But I wanted to talk today about Naomi and just having, how we can get in the wrong attitude sometime. And how, even though we might have the wrong attitude, God is so merciful. He is, man. He's good and faithful, even when we're faithless. So, Ruth 1, starting in verse 20, and Naomi had just gone down to Moab with her husband and her two sons. And her husband died, and then her two sons died, and then she was coming back, and Ruth ended up coming back with her. But when she comes back into the city, they call her. They say, "Is that Naomi?" And then it starts verse 20. It says, "And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Why then do you call me Naomi, seeing the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" And just so you know, her name Naomi means, I think it's plentiful, but let me just check real quick. Um, Pleasant, um, my delight. But that she's saying, like, why are you calling me pleasant? Why are you calling me a delight? Don't call me Naomi. Call me Mara, which is bitter. Call me bitter, not pleasant, because the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Why then would you call me Naomi, seeing the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? And it's just good to see this because even though this is how Naomi is feeling, and she does have to experience a lot of bitterness, but like God has such a magnificent plan for her family that's it's huge, right? Because Ruth is she's a Moabite, and she ends up getting married to Boaz, and then Boaz um, brings forth the lineage of David, and David obviously leads to Christ. So, but what's amazing about this is, before the Lord had said, the Moabites shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord even to the 10th generation. And so he's saying basically the Moabites never coming in. Even to the 10th generation, they can't come in. But um, Ruth is a Moabite, and she's grafted in to Israel. But not only is she grafted in, just like all of us are that are grafted in to the covenant. But not only was she grafted in, but the lineage of Jesus is attached to her. Like when you read the lineage in Matthew or Luke, Ruth's name is in there, Boaz. So, and it's intentional, right? Because the Jews were so adamant about their bloodline, but what God's made of one blood, all people, right? We all came from Adam and Eve. Like the blood in all of us is the same. To think that there's this pure bloodline is kind of a foolish thing to think, but it is like coming down like from the family. It's an honor to be of this family lineage, but all our blood is the same. We're all from the same family at the end of the day. And what's even more awesome is how God grafts Ruth in as a Moabite and brings a Gentile in. Not only a Gentile, but a nation that was cursed and wasn't even supposed to ever get into the congregation. So the Lord was magnifying his grace. But Naomi, at this point in her life, she can't see that. right? She can only see that, man, God has obviously uh, determined to destroy me and he hates me. You know what I mean? You ever feel like God like has to hate me? You know, like if God loved me, he surely wouldn't let me experience these things. But I bet you now Naomi, you know, sees clearly like, oh wow, God, that was awesome what you did. You brought honor to my name forever. You know what I mean? Like I was, I was just tripping about my husband and my two sons getting killed or dying or whatever, and I felt like you had, hated me, but wow, you've actually written a book about my life and my daughter-in-law, and not even that, but also like brought forth the Messiah from my family lineage. So let's rejoice. Let's rejoice. Let's whenever we're tempted to be like, don't call me. Don't ask me why if I'm happy when I'm obviously sad. Don't Why would I ever be happy? Of course I'm sad. Look at my life. When you're tempted to complain about your life, have faith. God has a big, big picture in mind, and He can do great things with your life. Just trust Him, uh, like Naomi, and know that even though she complained and she said this, that God was merciful and God still had a plan for her because He's an awesome God and He's merciful. So just continue to put your trust in Him. Amen.